Hi everyone, Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Let me just move the camera. Oh, here we go. Now I can look at the middle of my screen. Today it's time for Taroscopes again. Sorry about that. This is the Taroscopes for Sag. You are at the right video. That's Sag Sun, Sag Moon, Sag Rising for the month of November 2023. And of course, Sag, part of Sag is a part of November, sorry, is a Sag month, right? The sun moves into Sagittarius on the 22nd. In the meantime, the sun is in the 12th house through the majority of November for you. Let's jump right into the astrology, shall we? No more introductions. All right. Just give me a moment here to get it right. All right, so we're on Sag. Let me move up to Sag here. And here we go. Okay, here's Sagittarius. So as I said, the month starts with the sun in your 12th house. The 12th house is a karmic house. And every year the sun moves through that 12th house, always at the same time, always let's see, mid-October, like later October through for a month from the time that the sun is in Scorpio. And we also have Mercury and excuse me, Mercury and Mars in that 12th house. So you could be getting triggered. Mars in the 12th house, we do have to be careful of hidden enemies. Um betrayals, people stabbing you in the back. Not that you want to be paranoid. But if there's a situation, you guys have really good intuitions. If there's a situation where you're kind of like wondering, is this on the light side of things or on the dark side of things, I would be extremely careful to assume it's the light side of things, but it could be the light side of things. So give it the space and the discernment that it needs. Sagittarius can be a little impulsive, especially when it gets an idea in its head. But I think that it's been a challenging time, and I think that many people, and not just Sages, are a little bit reticent about really trusting anything. Sagittarius is the sign of the truth, and you guys seek the truth. You seek the meaning for experience, and a lot of that experience that you need to seek meaning for happens in the realm of Scorpio, in the underworld. Sagittarius is that energy that's made it out of the other side. It's made it out of the underworld. It has experienced some of the worst things you can experience and comes out back into the light with a broader and higher perspective on things. It goes from being more personal to more interpersonal to more collective. Sagittarius really is the first sign that really sort of dips its toe into the collective energy as opposed to relational one-on-one, right? So, excuse me. I do need a drink of water. Do I have one? Of course not. I do have the morning coffee. Let's see how this works. It still tastes good, but it's like late afternoon, so I don't think I need more coffee today. All right, so we have so the sun spends until the 22nd when it moves into Sag, and it moves into your first house, invigorating. Okay, once the moon once the sun and Mars move into your first house, you're going to start to feel a little bit more like you have gas in your tank. I think a lot of your energy is being spent on navigating the sort of the cosmic waters. It's also, when we have all this energy in your 12th house. And let me tell you when that is. So Mercury is in Scorpio until the 10th, moving into Sag on the 10th, and is in Sag for 20 days to the 30th. So the first thing in here is Mercury. So your mind is the first thing into sort of the light out of the great cosmic sea that is the 12th house. And so you in a way get, well, know if you get to see where you're going, because that doesn't really happen until the sun comes in, because the sun is the light. But your mind is the first thing that clears. Let's put it that way. Um, Mars is in Scorpio until the 24th, then it moves into Sag, and it's there until January. So that Mars in Sag energy in the first house, Mars loves being in the first house. It's really going to invigorate you. And so it looks like from Thanksgiving on, you're going to be a little bit of a hellion. But until before that, you're kind of moving you're moving at a different speed, because you're actually kind of moving in a different dimension, as it were. All right, Jupiter, your ruling planet, still in Taurus and still retrograde. It is, let's see, in your sixth house of health. You really, really have to be careful of your health, because Jupiter is your ruling planet and it's retrograde in your house of health. So you really need to, this is a good time. Jupiter in Taurus can be a little bit too many sweets. It can be a diet thing. Perhaps you need to diet, or you need to get a diet that agrees with your system. Of course, we have Uranus in there. So, and Uranus is in that house for 7 years. It's retrograde, and both Jupiter and Uranus are retrograde in Taurus this month for you in that sixth house. But that Uranus can be like things that you don't expect to happen, like suddenly come up. In Taurus, you have to be especially careful of your neck, of your neck. Whiplash, whacking your head coming out of, if you have one of those low cellars, like you live in an old house like I do, whack, that can mess you up. So you do have to be careful. You can also have more issues in your throat, thyroid issues maybe, or maybe just like having to clear your throat, postnasal drip, that kind of stuff. Things that need attending, or at least certainly attention and to be looked at. Venus, the planet of love, spends the first couple of days. Let's see, Venus is in Virgo until the 8th, when it moves into Libra. Venus loves being in Libra. This is a time when you can network. Now I realize you're spending a lot of time in this 12th house. When you're not in the 12th house, tripping the light fantastic in the 12th house, you can spend some time with friends. This would be a good time to make connections with your friends. You don't have to visit them in their homes, but at least you have to reach out, maybe through technology. Maybe it's time to connect with some old friends over Zoom, or some new friends over Zoom, so that you can make the connections that you need. People who are going to bring ballast to your life. You don't want to be surrounded by people who are going to create more problems. You want to be in a place where you feel like the time you spend with these people bring you a certain amount of peace. So that'll be important for you. Saturn does go direct this month, right on the 4th. In fact, that first week is quite amazing. It's actually only 4 days. I'm counting the first so from the first, which I think is the first is a Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have the Sun opposed Jupiter. Oppositions are awareness. It's the cycle. It starts with the conjunction, and then it comes into fruition with that full cycle. When we have the opposition, we see what seeds were planted at the initial conjunction. If you want to really know what I'm talking about, you should check out my astrology and Kabbalah of whatever month it happens to be. The next one coming out is November. And you can check out, because I talk about these synodic cycles between these planets and what they might mean for us. So if you want to go deeper into that kind of stuff, get into the detail, get into the deets, as it were, those are the videos that you want to check out. And I do them week by week, because I used to do the whole month, but it's just too overwhelming. There's just too much to talk about. And there's so many things going on that really need the time for explanation. And so that's where you can find that on my channel. We also have Venus opposed Neptune and Mercury opposed Uranus. This is all happening at the same time. There's all these cycles coming to like a point. Now the Sun Jupiter, the Venus Neptune, and the Mercury Uranus cycle are 1-year cycles. So these seeds were planted about 6 months ago. Venus, I think a little bit longer than that, because we had that Venus retrograde. But this is sort of what was sort of planted at the beginning of the year is coming to fruition now towards the end of the year. And then we have Saturn direct. Saturn changes direction. Saturn is the planet of reality in, of course, the most unreal sign of the zodiac, Pisces, but it's still Saturn and it still requires us to be responsible. And so when Saturn goes direct, it's like the spike is in the ground, and this is the place from which we need to move forward from. And we move forward with all this awareness from Venus and Neptune and Mercury and Uranus and the Sun and Jupiter. Sun and Jupiter, the two largest things in the solar system, and Jupiter is your ruling planet. So there's big realizations at the beginning of this month. Then we have Venus opposing Neptune. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. And then we have Uranus opposing Mercury. Mercury is the higher octave of, Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So we have all this, not just the normal Venus Neptune sort of energy that we deal with. Venus, our values, Neptune, the way we think and the way we take in information, but we have all this influence from the outer planets, and those are the planets that move us forward through evolution. And of course we have the nodes of the moon, right? The north node is in Aries. Now I haven't put them in here. I don't know why I didn't put the nodes in here, but we have the north node here in Aries. Oops, let me find my little cursor. I can't find it. In Aries, in your 5th house. So you're being asked to move in the direction of creative self-expression. Shouldn't be too hard for you. You like to express yourself, especially your opinion, right? And it's a learned opinion. You say what you know. I mean, that's really what Sag is all about, sharing what they know. So we have the north node here. We have the south node in your 11th house, and we have Pluto squaring that, right? And so the resolution node is that south node. So we need to go back to the past, how we relate in groups, perhaps. This, of course, we can see in the United States, because this 11th house is the house of the Congress. And according to, if you use the Sibley chart, we have a Sag rising. So this could apply to the United States as well, having to, and this is the Congress. So this is relationships in the Congress, revisiting, resolving, seeing what needs healing and healing it before we can move together in a creative way, right? And that's true of you, Sag, as well. Let's see. I talked about Jupiter. I did. So Pluto, been there a long time in that 2nd house, transforming your values and how you value yourself. Perhaps some of you have gotten quite wealthy through this period. That's nice. It's going to move back into Aquarius in January. We also have Neptune retrograde in that 4th house, and Saturn again is in that 4th house. So there is maybe a line in the sand in your home. Maybe somebody has been pushing the boundaries, and you finally put up a boundary and say, no more, no more, no more. And then you move forward from there. So that's always a healthy thing. We have 2 lunations. We have the new moon in Scorpio that happens on the 13th, which is a Monday. It's happening at 21 degrees of Scorpio. However, it is opposite Uranus. It's a very, very tight opposition to Uranus. Where do we have it? New moon in Scorpio opposite Uranus. We also have Venus sextiling Mercury, making a yod to Jupiter, your ruling planet, right? Venus and Mercury have been through these retrograde cycles, right? We had Venus retrograde in Leo. We have Mercury retrograde in Virgo of all things, right? Really working hard. Those 2 planets really working hard to come to understand things from the inside out. Now it makes a yod to Jupiter, which is society. It's the expansion and the understanding. This is a time to share your understanding, but from a new perspective and in light of our evolutionary, where we are evolutionarily. All right, let's see. Full moon we have in Gemini. This is, of course, the sun will be in your 1st house. The moon will be in your 7th house. This is across the axis of identity, I and thee, right? Me and you, me and the other, right? Relationship. Full moon, something is going to come to a fullness. And you just need to talk it out. It's Gemini. It can be resolved if you talk it out. And the ruler at that time, Mercury, is going to be in Sag. So the full moon is in Gemini, but the ruler of that Gemini full moon is Mercury in Sag. So you will get your opportunity to say what you need to say. You also have to be willing to listen. So, and that's always a little bit of a challenge. Um, week 2, we have trines of Venus and Mercury to Pluto and Neptune. Again, we have Venus and Mercury making these flowing aspects this time to the transpersonal planets. So we get an awareness, and then we have the energy to actually move with the change that you need to move with to understand things in a higher perspective. Okay. We have Venus, let's see, Venus. We have Mercury making a sextile to Pluto. Mercury is how we take in information. Sextiling Pluto is an opportunity for progressive change in the way we think. And square Saturn, last quarter crisis and action, crisis and consciousness square. There's a couple of those last quarter squares happening at this time of the year, and it does have us question authority. So you may be finding yourself saying things like, what was that country thinking, or what was that leader thinking? And of course, you're very worldly, so you care about what leaders are saying and doing and thinking. Like, how could they think that that was the right thing to do, kind of thing. So, but I don't have to tell you that because you guys are already there. We have Mars make a trine to Neptune and the Sun make a trine to Neptune. Neptune is our imagination. Saturn is in a Neptune ruled sign. So this is an opportunity to be very creative. But when Neptune's involved, there's always a little bit of a danger of being delusional. So you can create, but try not to get so ensconced in that creation that you lose all your bearings in the real world, as it were. Let's see, that's happening. When is that happening? Where did I just see that? That's happening week 3. So that's right before you're still in that 12th house energy, except for Mercury. So just be careful with that. Mars makes a conjunction to the Sun. This happens every 2 years. This is happening at 26 degrees of Scorpio. So this is happening in that 12th house. Mars and the Sun is an illumination of your desires. And your desires this time are coming from your 12th house. So be aware of what comes up for that. It's going to take a while. It's a 2-year cycle. It takes about a year to get to the opposition. The opposition occurs when Mars is retrograde, actually. So you'll know the opposition is happening when Mars goes retrograde. And you'll have some awareness as to what was planted in that 12th house in November of 2023. Week 4, we have the Sun and Mars sextiling Pluto. The Sun and Mars, of course, are moving together. They just so they're going to make aspects together. You're going to have one and then the other one makes the aspect, then one and the other one. And the aspects they're making are sextiles to Pluto and squares to Saturn. That last quarter square of Mars to Saturn crisis in leadership, in fact. So you can keep your eyeballs peeled for that. Week 5, we have Venus and Libra. Venus and Libra now in a yod, right? In the crosshairs of another yod with Uranus and Neptune. This happened back, actually, no, it wasn't Uranus and Neptune, it was Uranus and Pluto back then. When it entered its retrograde, it was in a yod to Neptune and Pluto. Now it's in another yod, but this time it's Uranus and Neptune. They're all transpersonal planets, so there's this need to have your values reflect the evolutionary journey we're all going through. It's not about like sticking to your guns here. It's about being to a certain extent malleable in order to do that. And with Venus in Libra, it's more likely that it'll be a positive experience because Libra's used to having to make compromise. But we really do need to come to an understanding and a compromise situation in the world and in our lives. So that's what's going on, folks. All right. I think that's good. All right. Let me get out of this so we can do the cards. Let me grab a deck here. Which deck do I want to use? Oh, I know. I have one under here. Is this the one I wanted to use? I don't think so, but I'm going to use it anyway. This is my witch's deck, my old-timey witch's deck from when I was initiated. All right. So what is the message for Sagittarius this month? What's the message for Sagittarius? Your perspective is important. It needs to be heard. With Mercury in the first house, I think it will be heard. I think you're not going to be reticent to hold back. You're not going to hold back. You guys don't hold back generally. Sometimes to your detriment. What's that? Foot and mouth disease? Have you heard of that, Sagittarius? I said that once and somebody got really upset with me, like a watcher, and was like, "Oh, Sagittarius, she thought I was dissing Sagittarius." Like, I'm not. Some of my best friends is Sagittarius. Hey, if you can't laugh at yourself, you're doing it wrong. That's what I say. If you're not laughing at yourself, if you're not laughing at yourself, usually other people are laughing at you. So, I mean, you might as well join the fun, right? All right, let's see what we have here. We are starting with Sagittarius. Ooh, the Ten of Pentacles. So this is security, home, family. Let's see if we can get this in focus. These are really old cards, so it's hard to focus on them. They're not that clear to start with. So you and your castle, feeling secure, feeling with family. Let's see, what challenge is that? What challenge is that? This is an interesting a need as good as it is in your situation with your family. I think you need time alone. I think you need time to explore the inner realms. That's what this looks like to me as a challenge. The Hermit card is a card of wisdom, and in order to be wise and in order to sorry guys, I know this is freaking annoying. It's annoying to me. It's got to be annoying to you. Probably not as annoying to you as it is to me, because I have to look at myself. All right. Come on now. Give me a face. Good face. Good face. No good face? Sorry. Anybody want to read my palm while I'm trying to do this? Let's see what's at the root. We have the Devil card at the root. This card is in this deck, it's much more of the devil being a sensual sensual energy, but there is a certain amount of manipulation here. You can see the way he's holding his hands. It's almost like they're marionettes. And of course, these are two, a man and a woman, like the lovers maybe. But this is a card of connecting with the wild places. This is a time where if you can go to the forest, go to the seashore by yourself, or with a friend, that might not be a bad idea too. You want to be rooted. You want to be rooted in the earth through this period. I think this is part of the necessity to be rooted in the earth while you're going through this, all this 12th house energy. In the past, we have the Eight of Wands. This is information, learning, learnedness, the professor. This actually is a Sag card, interestingly enough. In the sky, we have the Six of Cups. This is, in this deck, we call this the wedding card. This is celebration. Celebration, love. You might have, I don't know if you guys are going to a wedding or what you're doing, but there's a lot of good energy around that. Yeah, we have in the immediate future, we have the Three of Cups. I did say that you might want to spend time with old friends or new friends, or spend time with friends as well. Was it Venus moving through that house? So this indicates that you will have time with that. In fact, it almost seems like you're going to be so busy with family and fun and friends that the challenge is that time that you need alone, that time that you need to yourself. That's the challenge here. How does it look from the outside? You're the boss. People love you. They think that you know what you know, what you know, that you come from a place of integrity. Your domestic situation, the Tower, an illumination, an illumination. Now, this can be very disruptive, although the rest of the cards look very not disruptive. So this could simply be an illumination, seeing something that you hadn't seen before, or having to really show yourself for who you truly are. The 16-7 vibration is a vibration of all the facades break away and people see you in a way, and you actually, a lot of times it's you see yourself in your spiritual sort of form, but sometimes it's other people. Okay. Hopes and fears, the Nine of Wands, trying to keep all the balls in the air, right? Is a lot of stuff. You don't just have family commitments, you have work commitments, you have spiritual commitments, you have commitments to the collective. I mean, I talk about it all the time. What are you doing to help the collective, right? Like, well, the best thing you can do is just to be yourself, which is what the Tower card reminds us. You just have to be yourself. And that's enough. And that's enough. All right, let's see what the outcome is. Very precise action. You have to be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very, oh shoot, what's that word? Like boom, 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 boom. Precise action, synchronized action, maybe defensive action. This might have something to do with this, right? Some illumination and you having to take an action with others in a very specific way. All right, let's see if we can get a little more information on that. Okay. The Chariot, but it's part of the point you're at. This is a 7 card as well. 7 and a 7, right? They're both 7 cards. So this is being on your soul's path. What I would say is you need to listen to the inner voice. When this situation comes up, you have to go right to the source. And if it happens when all that stuff is happening in the 12th house, you'll be real close to the source. All right, let's see what's underneath it all. Attack, justice, and a new emotional step forward. So even though you may be attacked in some way, you have justice on your side, and it will not be, it will not, you can't abide, it won't be abided. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, justice will. And now if you happen to be Donald Trump, who has a south node, I mean, a south node and a moon in Sag, you might be a little bit worried. But yeah, so looks like everything is going well. And then something, then there's an issue. But as long as you're very precise and you utilize your wisdom to move through it, you should be fine, and you'll get to the other side of it, and you will have right and justice on your side. So. All right, cool. Let's also do a Spirit of the Wheel oracle. Whoops. All right, message for Sag. Almost every reading so far there's been a point. Some of the readings have been like, and others have been like, everything's great, but then there's a point. So there's definitely something coming our way in November. Advice or message for Sag for November 2023. What's a Sag need to know? I have a lot of Sag friends. I know I say this every time. I love Sages because they're always ready for an adventure. Like if you wanna go somewhere, call your Sag friend. They'll go with you. They even have a bag in their closet already. You know, they've got their I'm going to the beach bag. They have they have their corner of the closet if they have to go to like a black tie. They know. They know what they have. They're ready. They're ready for an adventure. I love Sag. Okay. Cleansing spirit path of the north, releasing burdens, detoxification, and energy flow. Wow. 12th house stuff. Gotta take care of yourself. All right, let's see. I'll read this to you. I'll hold it up because it's such a pretty card, but let me read it from the book. And if I do that, I have to take my glasses off because it's really small. It's really small. All right. Put the card up, hopefully. Now I can't tell if that's in focus, but I can read this. The cleansing card signifies a time to release some of your heavy burdens and responsibilities. Cleansing means detoxifying on every level: spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. Over time, burdens can create negativity and fatigue, which continue to build if we do not release them and breathe our way into a cleaner, healthier lifestyle. Learn to live in the moment and move along with life circumstances instead of fighting them. Sometimes we cannot change the circumstances that occur within our lives, but we have control over our own reactions. Let things unfold now, even if you are fearful of what lies ahead. Delegate some responsibilities you have recently taken on. Respect and nurture yourself by setting your own personal boundaries. This means helping others only when not sacrificing yourself in the process. Cleansing yourself will make room for more positive, healthier energy flow. And this is your prayer. I am open mind, body, and spirit to the cleansing I need. Through the release of my burdens, I am more open to the love and support of myself and others. There you go, Sag. There's a theme. There's a theme. Of course, the month starts with an opposition between the Sun and Jupiter. It would be very easy to get to overextend yourself. So be careful with that. Not a way to start the month, especially with the Sun in that 12th house. So, all right, guys, take care. Have a good month. Like and subscribe if you would. If you'd like a reading with me, I do an hour and a half readings that are a combination of astrology, numerology, and Kabbalah. If you're wondering what that looks like, you can check out any of my in the news segments. I've done many on different people, and that's sort of the reading that you get. Of course, it's better because I can actually talk to you, and I'm not supposing what's going on in your life. I'll ask you, and you'll tell me, and we'll figure it out together. If you'd like to be a patron, I do have a Patreon page, Dr. Vicky at the Seeds, I believe it's called, but there's a link below that can take you there. For $5 a month, you can help to support my work. It's greatly appreciated. If that's not something you can do, you can always give me a thumbs up and share my videos. That helps as well. Any help helps, right? Take care, everyone. I'll see you again next month for the December Tarot Scopes. Until then, be good to yourself. Namaste.